Kenya itasimama, Kenya itanawiri kwa umoja na uzalendo. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Je, wewe? Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo daima. The government notes the public interest commentary and concerns of timelines following the assent to 8 bills by His Excellency the President after they were passed by the National Assembly on 15th of October 2025. The presentation of the bills for assent was prearranged and scheduled to ensure compliance with strict constitutional, statutory, and procedural timelines, international commitments, and conditions. Hence, the assent of the bills to further ensure continuity of the business of government, including the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Amendment Act, the Wildlife Conservation and Management Act, the National Police Service Commission Amendment Act, the Land Amendment Act, the National Land Commission Amendment Act, the Air Passenger Service Charge Act, the Virtual Asset Service Providers Act, and 8, the Privatization Act. On the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Amendment Act, it is important to note that the new amendments do not curtail freedom of expression or give government agencies unchecked power to silence dissent, as alleged. Rather, they strengthen Kenya's capacity to combat real and growing threats such as child pornography, online extremism, terrorism, propaganda, cyber harassment, identity theft, and financial fraud. The power given to the National Computer Crimes Coordination Committee to render a website or application inaccessible is subject to proof that it promotes unlawful activities, and any such directives is subject to judicial review in accordance with Article 47 and 50 of the Constitution on fair administrative action. This approach mirrors international best practices where governments have enacted similar frameworks to protect citizens, especially children, from harmful and extreme content. Let me repeat that. To protect citizens, especially our children, from harmful and extremist content. The government therefore reiterates that the freedom of expression and media and Article 33 and 34 remains intact, subject only to limitations prescribed by law in the interest of national compensable incidents. This ensures fair treatment of coastal communities who are heretofore not covered and strengthens the link between conservation and community welfare. On the Privatization Act, contrary to claims that the law allows the executive to sell public assets unchecked, the new act actually strengthens rather than weakens oversight and accountability. It expressly requires approval by both the Cabinet and the National Assembly before any government asset or shareholding in a state corporation can be sold. Additionally, the law introduces multiple layers of scrutiny, including publication of proposed privatization methods, whether through initial public offers, IPOs, public tenders, or preemptive rights, ensuring transparency and preventing the unilateral disposal of national assets. The 2025 law replaces the 2023 Privatization Act, which was declared unconstitutional by the High Court for insufficient public participation. The new framework addresses that concern comprehensively, incorporating public feedback and reinforcing Kenya's international commitments to sound fiscal management, efficiency, and accountability in public enterprises. On the Land Amendment Act and the National Land Commission Amendment Act, the proposed laws are designed to protect public land. The Land Amendment Act mandates the Chief Land Registrar to register and gazette all public land allocated to public bodies or set aside by developers for schools, hospitals, and other amenities. This prevents land grabbing and misuse of land earmarked for community benefit. The National Land Commission Amendment Act reopens the window for addressing historical land injustices, empowering the Commission to review past allocations and facilitate fair settlements, especially for landless communities. And this I need to explain very clearly, is to make sure that when developers or people who are selling land have put aside land for public schools and such kind of things, their land must be registered, because usually it's left open, then they resell. So it is to cure that problem, and is to ensure that all our public land, all our public schools have a title deed. for development and security. We've had situations where you find actually people hiving off some part of public land in terms of a school. You go to a school, you find at the far end is somebody's house or apartments because there was no title. On the National Police Service Commission Amendment Act, the bill that responds to the growing concern, it actually responds to the growing concern of a police officer's mental health because of the nature of their work. It mandates the establishment of counseling and psychosocial support units in all counties for both uniformed and civilian members of the service. The law aims at reducing cases of self-harm and improve well-being amongst officers, reinforcing the human security pillar of national development. And this is very critical because you've seen police officers killing themselves because of high stress and conditions, and nobody does their debriefing. So that is why it is being established. On the Air Passenger Service Charge Amendment Act, the law aligns with the ongoing merger of the Tourism Promotion Fund and Tourism Fund, eliminating duplication and improving efficiency in the use of tourism levies. This amendment allows the government to channel resources more effectively into tourism development projects. On the Virtual Assets Service Providers Act, this law establishes Kenya's first comprehensive framework to regulate virtual assets and cryptocurrencies, positioning the country as a regional leader in financial innovation while safeguarding consumers from fraud, money laundering, and terrorism financing. It also responds to the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, recommendation to remove Kenya from the grey listing by improving compliance with international anti-money laundering standards. This is very, very clear, so that we can have physical location of those who are doing cryptocurrencies and all of that, so that they are traceable and to avoid people who just disappear thinly in the internet. On timelines and progress, the assent of the 8 bills follows strict constitutional and procedural timelines, and some have actually been returned to Parliament with reservations from the executive under Article 115 of the Constitution, which outlines the process for the President to assent to a bill or refer it back to Parliament for reconsideration and had to be resubmitted within prescribed timelines, as per the Constitution, as you can hear. Additionally, 2 of the laws, the Privatization Act and the Virtual Assets Service Providers Act, were necessary components of Kenya's ongoing engagement with the International Monetary Fund and other development partners, ensuring timely compliance with national and international obligations. The government reaffirms that the executive acted strictly within the law in granting assent as provided under Article 115 of the Constitution, and all of the bills assented to were the outcome of public submissions, parliamentary committee review, and parliamentary debate processes as required by the law. Additionally, the President's assent to these bills reflects the government's commitment to institutional strengthening, citizen protection, and economic modernization, consistent with the bottom-up economic transformation agenda and Vision 2030. The government affirms that no law will be used to suppress legitimate freedoms or to alienate national assets unlawfully, and that all actions remain subject to judicial oversight, constitutional safeguards, and the sovereign will of the Kenyan people. The President, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, he is committed to the rule of law, as he very well stated when he was sworn in on 13th of September 2022. So it's extremely important to insist on this because we want to protect our children from acts like pornography, extreme, religious cults and such kind of practices. And it is unfortunate because we are seeing people rushing to court based on misinformation and disinformation and fake versions of the bills. The matter is now in court, but it is important for people to understand what is happening so that then we are able to move forward, because we cannot allow individuals to look for opportunities to mobilize the public against laws just because they want to create a political mileage out of it, or to create a public catharsis and furore that is not justified. So that is why we are clarifying this, and let this debate continue so that people can understand fully that this is actually to protect our laws. You know very well, for sure, that media has its own freedom, but online space as well needs to also be safeguarded, especially for our children and future generations. And that is not just what has happened here it is also across, the country, across the world, so that then we can have safe space. Because now we have 3 areas of that we need to check: the land, air, and sea, but also the cyberspace, which is a new frontier for our contestation. Further to this, it is important to also state that the President, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, in his campaign to ensure that in 10 years we are able to plant 15 billion trees, he will lead the nation in the launch of the Mau Forest Complex Integrated Conservation and Livelihood Improvement Program, MFC ICLIP, on Monday, October 27, 2025, at the Baringo Primary School, Kuresoi North, Nakuru County. The 10-year initiative, costing Kenya shillings 21.5 billion and led by the patron PS Dr. Engineer Festus Ngeno, aims at restoring Kenya's largest water tower, Mau Forest Complex, covering 403,000 hectares, feeding 12 major rivers that sustain millions of households, agriculture, and wildlife. It targets degraded areas in the eastern, western, southwest, and Molo forest blocks. The program blends science with community action, restoring forests, wetlands, dams, and riparian zones while promoting agroforestry, renewable energy, and green value chains. Through collaborative adoption by government, corporates, and communities, MFC ICLIP will also create 10,000 green jobs and empower youth-led environmental initiatives, securing Kenya's ecological and economic future while fostering sustainable livelihoods. The government is urging the youth to complete it. So that is very clear. Before I come to the next topic, it's very, very clear on that. So let's all join on Monday, and there's an initiative, it's a marathon going on. The head of public service, our boss, Mr. Charles Koskei, is being involved today and tomorrow. So let's all join hands. And remember, we are all planting 2,000 trees per school. Please take care of your orchard, take care of your nursery, and of course, the Kenya Forestry Service, as the president directed, having as many seedlings as possible, and then the National Youth Service, doing what they need to do. I was with them at my local primary school, Thika Primary School, for the visually impaired. We were there, and everybody, many of the PSS, the CSS were all over. Also, we now have another joint whole of government approach for the National Youth Opportunities Transformation, the program. That is going to be, the validation exercise is going to be done tomorrow. The government is urging the youth to complete the entrepreneurship aptitude test ahead of the Nyota validation exercise scheduled for tomorrow, 24th of October, 2025. This is a crucial step in evaluating participating youth in their entrepreneurial readiness and skills. To access test, youth must first activate promotional messages on their phones by dialing, please listen, *100, *5, *2, *5, *1 hash. Let me repeat. To access test, youth must first activate promotional messages on their phones by dialing *100, *5, *2, *5, *1 hash. Then send the word Nyota in capital, NYOTA, to 40270. Then send the word Nyota to 40270. Nyota should be in capital, and follow the prompts to complete the assessment. The EAT, that is the assessment, aims at helping to identify participants' strength and growth areas, ensuring better preparation for financial and business support opportunities under the Nyota program. So that is very, very clear. And finally, is to say that the government wants to strongly condemn those people who are using the social media to body shame individuals based on their looks and how God has created them. It's extremely uncouth. It is uncalled for. And those so-called challenges on TikTok and other forums are really out of taste. They're in bad manners, and it reflects very badly on those who are doing them in terms of their upbringing. And we are calling upon parents and to really dissuade their children from engaging in such behaviors. We are all created in the image and likeness of God. This is a country of equality, and there should be no form of discrimination or cyberbullying based on one's ability, based on one's gender, because we are all Kenyans, and we must also ensure that we implement what the Constitution says in Article 27 about non-discrimination. So those who are body shaming in whatever form, whether it is somebody's disability or shape or look, it is totally unacceptable. And there are laws that are there to take action as per the Constitution. If you specifically look at Article 54 of the Constitution and the newly enacted Persons with Disabilities Act and such other legislations that do exist. So that is very, very important. Further to it, it is important to also send a stern warning to all of the leaders that are taking this opportunity, when we are still mourning our departed hero, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, to cause division and animosity just to create political narratives that suit their ambitions. And you saw very well Governor Mutahi Kahiga, he had to resign, but it's not enough. The DCI and the NCIC should really be up and running to ensure that nobody continues with this behavior, because very well we are going into the election period sooner than later, and we need a cohesive and united country. The president is very clean and very clear and very focused in ensuring that all of the 47 counties have development projects. That is why you are seeing him going across the country. In about 2 weeks' time, he'll be in the Lower Eastern region. He's been hosting, as the head of state and government, leaders at State House. And so therefore, it is important because he's a symbol of national unity. And in respect of honoring our great patriot who has departed, that we all maintain sobriety and unity together. Kenya itainuka, Kenya itasimama, Kenya itanawiri pamoja na uzalendo. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Je, wewe? Wakenya wenzangu, leo hii tumekuja ili tuweze kukuelezeni yale mambo ambayo yanaendelea katika serikali, hususan zile sheria ambazo zimepitishwa juzi na bunge na kumekuwa na malalamishi. Ni kweli kwamba kuna watu waliokwenda kotini, lakini wakati mwingine watu wanakimbia kufanya mambo yale mengine kwa sababu pengine hawajaelewa ile sheria inafaa kutusaidia kivipi. Mwanzo ni kuhakikisha kwamba yale masuala ambayo ni ya kuaibisha watoto wetu, kuanza kuonyeshwa picha ambazo sio nzuri, mambo ambayo sio mazuri hata kidogo ya watu wakubwa, na kufanyia watoto masihara na madhara, hiyo ndio tunajaribu kuondoa. Wale ambao pia wanachukua mitandao na kuhakikisha kwamba wanaitumia ili kuweza kuweka watu katika kama mambo yale ya kuingia dini ambazo ziko na itikadi kali, kama vile tulivyoona kule Shakahola, mambo kama hayo ndio tunayakataa. Na pia kama kuna mtu yoyote ambaye amekuja anataka kufanya biashara kama zile za Bitcoin, na unajua wanaperemba watu katika mitandao ya kijamii, tunakataa. Na ndio tunasema kwamba zile tovuti zinafaa kuondolewa, lakini kuna lazima kufuatilia, kwa sababu kuna kamati ya kitaifa. Kama mtu anasemekana kwamba anatumia mitandao ya kijamii kwa njia ambayo isiyofaa ya kuweza kuharibia maisha ya watoto wetu, kuleta mambo ya ngono na kadhalika kule, hayo ndio mambo ambayo tunakataa. Na pia yule mtu ambaye anafanya mambo ya biashara online, pengine ana hiyo mambo ya Bitcoin na biashara kama hizo, awe na ofisi hapa Kenya, tujue ni nani, ndio tiposa kama kuna shida lolote tunajua tutamtoa wapi, shida yote awaye yote. Jambo lingine pia ambalo tunaweza kufanya ni kuhakikisha kwamba zile kampuni za umma ambazo tunazibinafsisha, sasa hivi kuna utaratibu mpya ambao umefanyika hivi kwamba lazima kwamba Wakenya waweze wahusishwe, na pia bunge la kitaifa liweze kutia sahihi na kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba wameweza kupiga msasa kule kubinafsishwa kule. Na hilo ni jambo ambalo limetokana na vile koti lenyewe lilipoamua, na tumeondolea ile sheria ya mwaka 2023. Kwa hiyo jambo itatusaidia zaidi, ndiposa Wakenya waweze kuhakikisha kwamba wanajua kampuni zao za umma zinapobinafsishwa zinafanyika kwa njia gani, kwa mambo ambayo yanafanya. Jambo lingine ambalo tumeweza kuhakikisha kwamba ni kwamba sheria zote sheria zile ambazo zinahusika kama ile tume ya ardhi, kwamba wakati wewe unanunua shamba unaweza unakatakata ndio uzie wengine, na umesema kwamba umeweka pengine ekari 1, 2, 3 kwa shule, hiyo ardhi iweze kusajiliwa na msajili mkuu wa ardhi, ndiposa iwe kwamba itatumika kwa ile shule, kwa sababu tunaona kwamba wanasema wameweka kando, mwisho wanakuja kuuza, tunakuwa kwamba shule hazina hata kuna mahali pa kujengwa. Pia shule zetu kwa sasa hivi lazima ziwe na hatimiliki, haito ukipenda, ndiposa watu waweze kuhakikisha kwamba sio mtu anakuja alafu anaiba mali ya umma. Itatusaidia sana ili tuweze kujali vizazi vya sasa na vijavyo, na pia kuhakikisha kwamba polisi wetu wanaangaliwa sana afya ya ubongo. Mental health unajua imekuwa ni jambo kubwa zaidi, wakati unaona wengine wanajipiga risasi, wengine hata wanauana wenyewe kwa wenyewe, kuwe kwamba kuna afisi ama kitengo ambacho kiko katika kila maeneo ya polisi kwenye stesheni na kadhalika, kuhudumia polisi wetu, ndiposa pia tuangalie afya yao ya ubongo na akili, ili waweze kusonga mbele na ili waweze kupatiwa wasia unaofaa na mambo ya kisaikolojia na mambo kama hayo. Jambo lingine pia ambalo limeweza kuhakikisha ni kwamba tuna mifuko miwili ya fedha ya utalii, tunaijumuisha kwa pamoja ili tuweze kuhakikisha kwamba tunatumia fedha zetu vizuri bila ya kutumia visivyo. Mambo kama haya ndio tunaangalia, na pia tumeweza kusema kwamba rais wetu atatuongoza Jumatatu. Kuna mradi mkubwa wa upanzi wa mti kuhakikisha kwamba tumeweza kupanda miti vizuri vile alivyosema, miti bilioni 13, na ndio tunaangalia hususan msitu wa Mau ambao tunatumia shilingi bilioni 21.5. Atakuwa kizundua ni mradi wa miaka 10 ili tuweze kuhakikisha kwamba mito yetu iko sawa na pia tuna afya njema, tunaweza kupata mazingira mazuri, na tunawakumbusha Wakenya kwa sababu huu mradi una hektari 1403 kwamba sasa hata we mwenyewe panda miti katika shambani kwa shule ambako uliposomea miti 2000. Mimi nilikuwa kule kwetu Thika Primary School for the Visually Impaired, na shule ya msingi tulipanda, na wengine pia kule tumeona pia makatibu wakuu na pia mawaziri wakifanya lile. Ni jambo zuri zaidi. Na pia mwisho kuna huu mpango wa nyota ikiwa nyota yako, na unafaa kufuatilizia ili tufanye ile mambo, tunaweza uweze kukaguliwa vizuri, uweze kupigwa msasa, uweze kufinya nyota yenyewe 100 nyota. Nataka kurudia vizuri, nyota ufuatilie na 100 nyota 5 nyota 2 nyota 5 nyota 1 then kisanduku, ile hashtag. Ukifanya hivyo ufuatilizia, alafu utaweza kuona vile ambavyo utasaidiwa, na ukishafanya hivyo uweze kutuma neno nyota kwa herufi kubwa, utume kwa 40270 40270. Kwa hivyo tuwe watu ambao tunapendana. Kenya ni nchi yetu nzuri. Kama kuna swali lolote tunataka kujibu, lakini tuwe watu ambao wana utangamano, na tukiendelea kumomboleza mwenda zake shujaa wetu Raila Amolo Odinga, tunakashifu kabisa wale ambao wanataka kutugawanyisha katika misingi ya kikabila na kuleta mambo ya rabsha na tunakemea kabisa, kama vile tulimuona yule gavana wa kule Nyeri, na tunashukuru ameweza kujiuzulu, lakini DCI na NCIC waweze kuchukua hatua zaidi, kwa sababu tunajua tunaelekea uchaguzini, na kuna watu ambao wanataka kujilipikizia umaarufu kwa njia kama ile. Pia zaidi wale ambao watu wanadhalilisha watu wenye ulemavu kwa sababu ya maumbile ama vile ambavyo nasiha na kadhalika, nafikiri ni jambo ambalo ni la aibu, na inaonyesha kabisa kwamba hawa ni watu ambao hawajaelewa vizuri. Kwa hivyo wazazi wetu tuwaonye watoto wetu wanaingia kule TikTok, wanafanya zile challenge ambazo zinaudhi sana. Kila mtu ana haki kulingana na kipengele cha 27 cha katiba yetu kuhakikisha kwamba hawawezi kubaguliwa kwa misingi ya yoyote, na kuna hatua ambazo zinafaa kuchukuliwa kulingana pia na hiyo katiba, kipengele cha 54 na sheria zingine ambazo zinaweza kutusaidia wezeshi kuhakikisha kwamba tunaweza kuwa na nchi ambayo iko sawa. Kenya itainuka, Kenya itasimama, Kenya itanawiri kwa moja na uzalendo. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Je, wewe? Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo daima.